Before marrying into the wealthy family, I publicly kissed my secret crush who turned out to be my billionaire husband. Later he pinned my wrists against the bed, growling, "Why tremble now? Weren't you so bold when kissing me?" 2 weeks earlier, I'd been pulling all-nighters for a month, my hair disheveled and eyes bloodshot when Olivia burst into my cubicle. The socialite wrapped her $50,000 cashmere coat tighter, slamming a document on my desk. The contract showed an $80 million figure. I shot up. "Your family's financial crisis is solved? You're adopting me? Emily." Olivia rolled her eyes dramatically. "My father's selling me off in an $80 million marriage deal. I'm shredding this. Let someone else play bride." My jaw dropped. She wanted to tear up an $80 million contract? I lunged forward. "Don't. I'll marry them. Please let me." Olivia's expression instantly brightened. "The Wilsons said any bride will do for this business arrangement. Sign here, the money's yours if you stay married." My pen hovered. The number of zeros made my head spin. But John's face surfaced in my mind. For 3 years I'd quietly adored our CEO. Too busy surviving to confess. Signing meant goodbye to any chance with him. Suddenly I slammed down the pen. "There's something I need to do first." I stormed into the corner office. Behind the ebony desk sat perfection incarnate, John's sharp jawline accentuated by silver-rimmed glasses. His Windsor-knotted tie resting against an Adam's apple I'd imagined tracing with my lips. Always composed. Always untouchable. "MS. Johnson?" His baritone voice snapped me back. "Did you need something?" Heart hammering. I grabbed his tie and crashed my lips against his. His mouth felt softer than I'd dreamed, but remained motionless. Desperate. I nibbled his lower lip. Still no response. When I pulled back, his widened eyes held shock, not passion. I fled only to find half the marketing team gaping at the doorway. Their stunned silence echoed through the floor. Only Lily broke it, fanning herself. "Damn girl. That was fire." My shattered heart disintegrated further from humiliation. Then the crowd parted for Sophia, John's Ice Queen executive assistant. Emily was aloof, keeping a polite distance from everyone at the company. Today was no different. She didn't even glance at the commotion, heading straight for John's office. I hurried out too. As we passed each other, I caught her quick frown and soft tsk of disapproval. At this proximity, only I could witness this uncharacteristic slip. It was so unlike her usual composure that I questioned if I'd misheard. The office rumors about her being John's college sweetheart, the thought made my cheeks burn. I quickened my pace, fleeing the building. My resignation text vibrated in my pocket as I sent it. Coward that I was. I immediately blocked John across all social platforms and his number. The red blocked contact screen reminded me of our first meeting 3 years ago, another chaotic day. Back then, our regional branch faced shutdown from corporate restructuring. Refusing to accept defeat, I'd stormed headquarters clutching financial reports, bursting into the CEO's office unannounced. John had been there too, leaning against the sofa like he'd stepped out of a GQ spread, every strand of hair, every cufflink meticulously arranged. 3 out-of-breath assistants chased after me as I crashed through the doors, papers flying. When they nearly caught me, I made a desperate leap, only to be caught in arms smelling of sandalwood and expensive cologne. His chiseled features left me momentarily speechless when I looked up. Shaking it off, I wriggled free and locked everyone out. The CEO stared open-mouthed while John's eyes sparkled with amusement. My rapid-fire presentation about branch potential got interrupted when the CEO began shaking his head until John casually remarked, "Not many manage to breach your inner sanctum, sir. Shouldn't we hear her out?" That bought me 3 minutes. I slapped color-coded charts on the desk, outlining our 5-year growth strategy complete with sales projections. The CEO finally conceded 3 months to show preliminary results. As I pressed for budget confirmation, John handed his boss water, while subtly giving me a thumbs up behind his back. I snorted laughter. This ice prince had hidden depths. A week later, John descended on our branch like Midas incarnate as the new president with expanded funding. We worked 80-hour weeks for 6 months to save the division. When promotions came, he personally elevated me to finance director. For the first time, my perpetually unlucky life felt charmed whenever he was near. That stolen kiss under the stars, perhaps I'd overstepped. My farewell whispered in the dark as I drained another vodka shot on what should have been my wedding night. The door burst open suddenly. My jaw dropped at the familiar broad-shouldered silhouette. "What? How did you get here?" I stammered as John shrugged off his suit jacket, carefully placing his Rolex on the table. His eyebrow arched. "What do you think?" Heat flooded my face. "Look. About that kiss, I know I shouldn't have." He cut me off, advancing with predatory grace. "Oh, we're absolutely discussing your initiative." But first his cufflinks hit the floor with metallic clinks. "Let's address your disappearing act today." The dangerous glint in his eyes made my breath catch. This wasn't the composed executive I knew. This was the man who'd once laughed over whiskey as we fixed quarterly reports at 2 a.m. The man whose steady presence had anchored me through every crisis. As his hands caged me against the wall, I realized too late some stars aren't meant to be worshipped from afar. They pull you into their orbit, burning brighter than any caution. With a swipe of my tears and a surge of determination, I thought, what's done is done. Fine. You can kiss me back if you want. Kiss you back? John arched an eyebrow, closing the distance between us with those long legs. His voice dripped with mock amusement. "Quite the negotiator, aren't you, Emily? What else can I do?" My composure shattered. I slammed down the wine bottle, stumbled toward him, and buried my face in his chest with a sob. "You don't understand, I had no choice." His arms locked around me, radiating warmth that carried his subtle cedar scent. Still sniffling, I shamelessly used his silk tie to blot my tears. "Now the waterworks?" His thumb brushed my cheekbone, catching a stray droplet. "Where's that bold woman who pinned me against the wall earlier? The one who ghosted my calls? Who's been drowning her sorrows here alone?" My alcohol-fogged brain struggled to parse his words. All I registered was the tenderness in his touch, the velvet rasp of his voice. And here I was, this wretched creature, about to betray the man I'd loved for 3 years. All for cold, hard cash. Fresh tears spilled over. Just go. Before my fiancé finds you. You can't handle him." John exhaled sharply, jaw tightening. Then, with deliberate slowness, he tilted my chin up. Our eyes met. "Sweetheart," he murmured, thumb tracing my lower lip. "Has it occurred to you that I might be the fiancé?" I froze mid-sniffle, a tear dangling precariously from my lashes. Pushing off his chest, damn that velvet lapel, I straightened with shaky dignity. "Impossible." I swiped at my face, slipping into CFO mode. I reviewed Q3 financials 2 weeks ago. Wilson Corp's liquid assets barely hit $200 million. There's no way you could have scraped together an $80 million dowry. The silence stretched taut. But I stood my ground. In this boardroom of the heart, numbers didn't lie. Clever girl. John's laugh held an edge. "Oh, you're good." Suddenly his palm cradled my jaw, calloused thumb brushing my cheek. His gaze darkened, those obsidian lashes dipping. "Then let's make it an affair." I gulped. His mouth hovered inches away, plush, inviting. My fingers twisted in his shirt, knees liquefying. But I forced myself back, voice cracking. "The dowry, my family needs it. I can't risk." "Already taken." His smirk returned. "I'm engaged." I hiccuped, moral high ground crumbling. "Ethically, I must decline." "Ethics?" He chuckled. "Now she grows principles. They're new." I sniffled. Then, With tragic grandeur, from tonight, I'll be your forbidden fruit. Don't you dare forget me. John massaged his temples, shoulders shaking with suppressed laughter. Emily, that was my first kiss. A watery smile broke through. Unforgettable, right? Indelibly satisfied. I let exhaustion claim me, nuzzling into his neck. One last hug. Sleep, rumbled that whiskey-smooth voice, dissolving my fears. When I awoke, my nose pressed against honey-toned pecs, sculpted, glistening, absurdly perfect. I poked one. Morning. The sleep-roughened baritone vibrated beneath my ear. Wait. That voice. My gaze crawled upward over the Adam's apple. The stubbled jawline. Until. J. John? Holy crap. I must still be dreaming. I yanked my hand back as fragmented memories of last night's drunken antics flooded my mind. Bolting upright, I realized someone had changed my clothes. I threw off the covers to find John wearing only sleep pants, his bare torso dotted with reddish marks. Shit. I'd really done it this time. Footsteps approached outside. Was that my husband? Were we about to get caught? No time to think, I hauled John out of bed by his arm. Though clearly disoriented from being woken so abruptly, the usually formidable CEO followed obediently as I dragged him toward the walk-in closet. His sleep-rumpled compliance made my chest tighten unexpectedly. Steeling myself, I shoved him inside. Don't make a sound no matter what happens, I hissed, slamming the door on his bewildered expression. A hand shot out, pulling me into the darkness. Emily, John growled. Our bodies pressed together in the confined space. You're really playing me as the other man now? My palms landed squarely on his pecs as I struggled for balance. The warm, firm muscle beneath my fingers made my throat go dry. Let's talk outside, I stammered, cheeks burning as I tried shrinking away. John's low chuckle vibrated against me. What's wrong? Finally found something that scares you? Before I could respond, 3 knocks rattled the bedroom door. You awake? Olivia's voice sang through the wood. I practically wept with relief. I'll get that. John released me with a scoff. Olivia stood grinning in the doorway, holding sunflowers. Happy wedding week. The pieces clicked into place. Your arranged marriage, I whispered urgently. Is it to John? Her nod sent fireworks exploding behind my ribs. Holy shit, the universe really did hand out freebies sometimes. Olivia wiggled her eyebrows. So? How was last night? My elation fizzled. That's the thing, I don't feel anything. What? Her shriek could have shattered glass. He's hung like a chili pepper? Damn. My bad. Don't worry. I've got 3 beefcakes on standby. Whool. I clamped a hand over her mouth, shooting a panicked glance at the closet. Too late. The door creaked open to reveal John's thunderous expression, dress shirt hanging half unbuttoned over his flushed chest. A man's cool voice came from behind me. Not up to the task? I reluctantly turned to face John, now fully dressed in his tailored suit. His gaze swept past Olivia before freezing on my face, his expression turning arctic. Looking for a boy toy? I shook my head frantically. Never. Absolutely not. His arms snaked around my shoulders, pulling me flush against his chest as the doorway became an invisible barrier between us and Olivia. John's knuckles whitened on the doorknob. MS. Brown. We'll have to continue this another time. My wife and I, his eyes locked with mine, need to work on our relationship. Olivia practically teleported from the room. As I shifted nervously, John slammed the door with finality. Mrs. Johnson, he began, methodically loosening his immaculate tie. Last night never happened. His transformation from corporate titan to predatory gentleman would have been fascinating if I weren't the prey. But I'm happy to demonstrate my capabilities now. My theoretical knowledge of intimacy suddenly felt as useful as a parachute made of tissue paper. Backpedaling until my calves hit the bed frame. I watched helplessly as he closed the distance. His palm burned through my thin summer dress when he caught my waist. The mechanical whir of automatic curtains drowned in my pounding heartbeat. Darkness swallowed the room gradually, his chiseled features dissolving into shadow until only touch remained. His lips hovered millimeters from mine, suspended in exquisite torture. What are you waiting for? My voice trembled as badly as my knees. His chuckle vibrated against my skin. Where's that office boldness? Heat flooded my cheeks, remembering our earlier encounter. Before I could protest, his mouth captured mine in devastating precision. The world dissolved into sensation until sudden cold air replaced his warmth. Blinking dazedly, I watched John transform back into the composed CEO while buttoning his shirt. I've arrived. How long? He spoke into his phone. All traces of passion erased. A melodic female voice floated through the receiver. Take your time, John. Rest first. Emily. His tender tone stabbed through me. I've got critical negotiations. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving me staring at the ceiling as adrenaline faded into hollow stillness. My phone buzzed with notifications. I glanced at the screen to see a message from Lily at the company. Breaking news. Over 10,000 versions of your interactions with John since yesterday are circulating. After thorough analysis, we conclude that Ice Prince John's no easy catch. Prepare for a prolonged siege. Should I tell her chasing's unnecessary since I'm already his wife? But Lily continued, Emily, you've got fierce competition. Her tone shifted. Sophia, his secretary. Remember that scoff yesterday? My smile faded as I typed and deleted replies. Finally sending, did John really pursue Sophia before? 100% confirmed. Lily replied mysteriously. Multiple colleagues probed Sophia until she cracked said it was just college nonsense. But look at this. She blasted a photo with dramatic exclamation points. The image showed younger versions of John and Sophia in a cafe. He gripped her arm angrily while she teared up, their bodies leaning into what could be mistaken for embrace. My stomach dropped. It screamed unrequited love meets forced proximity drama. Lily kept narrating, Sophia's covering for John's pride. She followed him during his sudden executive transfer. My gut says she's still interested. I responded with random emojis and set my phone down, remembering Sophia's voice during John's interrupted phone call earlier. If it were business, John would have said so directly. But he'd mentioned plans. And we'd been interrupted. Was I just convenient because he couldn't have his true love? The burning question lingered until my banking app notification silenced at $500,000 deposited. Our contractual marriage's reminder glared back. That afternoon, I visited Mom's garden. Yesterday's business trip excuse had required hiring caregiver Anna. Through the fence, I heard Mom chatting with chrysanthemums. This bloom's perfect for Emily. Wait. Why's this one wilting? I watered you yesterday. My laughter betrayed me. Mom spun around. Stop lurking and help. Silly girl. I bounded over, our laughter scattering the morning's shadows like dandelion seeds in the breeze. After watering the plants, the caregiver finished preparing dinner. Midway through the meal, Mom suddenly said, Mrs. Wang next door wants to set you up on a date. I'll send you the photos later. I nearly choked on my soup. Mom, I told you 2 years ago to stop worrying about this. When the right time comes, it'll happen naturally. Guilt twisted my gut. I couldn't possibly admit I'd already secretly married John Wilson. The shock might endanger her heart. You mean 2 years ago? Mom slammed her chopsticks down. You're not getting any younger without even a boyfriend. You refuse blind dates while I'm here worrying myself sick. If something happened to me, she paused, voice cracking. How could I rest easy? I put down my spoon, eyes burning. Then watch over me every day. Problem solved. We ate the rest of the meal in tense silence. That night, I texted John from my childhood bed but got no response. Scrolling through my phone past midnight, I suddenly heard slippers shuffling outside. Mom radar activated. I instantly locked my phone, stuffed it under the pillow, and fake snored. She clicked off my lamp, muttering about electricity waste, then lingered by my bed. "Stubborn girl," she whispered, tucking my hand under the blanket. Her calloused fingers brushed my hair. "This heart could give out any day. I just want to see you settled." Tears soaked my pillow as she continued. "My brilliant girl, so accomplished, so thoughtful. I'm the burden here." The door clicked shut. I muffled sobs in my quilt. Burden? She'd worked double shifts since Dad's death when I was 9, weathering gossip and backaches to put me through school. The day I got my college acceptance, she collapsed. Doctors said cardiomyopathy could be fatal. 18-year-old Emily had wiped her tears that night. "No more school. Mom. I'll work." How could the universe crush the one person who'd sacrificed everything? That woman who'd sold her wedding ring for my textbooks. Who'd hidden her tremors until collapse. She was no burden. She was my hero. Mom had just woken up, still weak, but managed to slap my arm. She said, "Emily Johnson, have you grown wings? Dare to quit school? I'll beat you to death." I was stubborn too. I immediately tore up my acceptance letter right there. Her temper flared worse than mine as she pointed at me, trembling so badly the heart monitor started beeping frantically. A swarm of nurses rushed in, pale-faced. I screamed, "I'll go. I'll study." Mom gradually calmed down. We compromised. I'd attend college with student loans and work for living expenses, while she quit her job. That's how we've supported each other all these years. Hard? Absolutely. But having Mom nearby made everything worthwhile. Then 6 months ago, she collapsed without warning. Thank God it happened on my day off. I called 911 immediately. The diagnosis showed her condition had worsened. Only a heart transplant could cure it, requiring at least $2 million upfront plus waiting for donor matching. The cruelest part? If she goes into shock before getting a transplant. But 26-year-old Emily had long stopped expecting life's favors. This time, I didn't cry. I started the donor matching process and took every side job imaginable, until Olivia handed me that marriage contract. Exhausted from crying over memories, I drifted into nightmares. Mom coding on the operating table, surgeons shaking their heads as I begged on my knees. The world dissolved into thick fog where I kept screaming for her with no answer. "Mom." I jolted awake, face wet with tears. The sound of her hearty laughter from the living room, "Oh, you shouldn't have brought gifts," anchored me back to reality. Then I opened my bedroom door. There sat John on our couch, my mother chatting with him like long-lost relatives. This man's entrances could power a small city. I dragged him into my room, ignoring Mom's knowing looks. "What are you doing here? How did you even find my address?" I hissed. He pressed his lips together, eyes suspiciously wounded. I asked Olivia. "You blocked my calls and texts," showing me his phone screen filled with red alerts and undelivered messages. Frantic, "Where are you?" Evolving into "I know where you are," ending with a lonely good night. "Sweet dreams." That last phrase punched my gut. During our 3 years working together, even on weekends flooded with work emails, John always signed off with those same words, "Good night. Sweet dreams." It never occurred to me that even knowing there'd be no response, he still actually messaged me. A breeze stirred the calm waters of my heart, sending ripples across its surface. I warned myself not to overthink. Hopeless romantics always crash and burn. No need to explain. Really. I forced a smile, feigning nonchalance. "Let me get you out of here right now." John suddenly stilled. His hand gently tilted my chin upward as he bent to meet my gaze, earnest intensity burning in those hazel eyes. "Emily," he said with devastating sincerity, You're upset. Did I do something wrong? His entire being radiated such raw honesty it nearly shattered my defenses. For one dangerous moment, I almost spilled everything. But staring into those patient eyes, the words lodged in my throat. John sighed, calloused thumb brushing my temple with infinite care. Even if I don't understand my mistake yet, the fault is clearly mine. Forgive me? He captured my hand, warmth seeping through my skin as if cradling something precious. Let me share this burden. Emily. Don't lock me out. My breath hitched. Years of weathering storms alone had armored me against vulnerability. Hardships only made me stronger, that's what I'd always believed. Yet here was John, dismantling my defenses with 6 simple words, let me share this burden. Perhaps, just this once. I withdrew to grab my phone, determined to show him the damning photo. A notification chimed, freezing my blood. The company group chat blazed with official condemnation, MS. Emily Johnson. Following anonymous sexual harassment allegations. You're hereby suspended pending investigation. Report to HR by 10 a.m. John's expression turned arctic. I'll handle this. Wait. I swallowed hard. My actions were inappropriate. I need to explain. Then we go together. He shouldered my purse with finality. Car keys already jingling in his free hand. We raced downtown, my stomach churning as colleagues' speculative messages flooded the chat. Whatever happened, I'd make them answer for this public humiliation. But the conference room held only Sophia waiting. The executive secretary's usual Chanel tweeds had been replaced by a razor-sharp Alexander Wang pantsuit. Her beauty now weaponized. Ice thawed from her posture as John entered. Mr. Wilson, the investigators wish to speak with you first. Her voice softened improbably. As for MS. Johnson, Frost reclaimed her tone. She'll wait here. John squeezed my shoulder before leaving. The door clicked shut. Sophia's stilettos struck marble like gunshots as she advanced. Manila folder snapping open. Let's be clear. MS. Johnson. Corporate requested simultaneous interrogations to prevent collusion. Her pen tapped the document. Did you or did you not sexually proposition Mr. Wilson? That's absurd. Spare the act. She slammed the file down, lip curling. I've dismantled dozens of your type. This pathetic crush jeopardizes both operations and Mr. Wilson's reputation. Now answer truthfully, are you? Secretary Sophia's dismissive and aggressive attitude made my blood boil. Wait! I couldn't help interrupting. I'm telling the truth. Why are you being so hostile? John will clarify this matter with headquarters himself. She frowned. John would explain? What's your relationship with him? Why would he? I bit my tongue, suddenly realizing I didn't know if John had agreed to go public with our status. For now, secrecy was crucial. This is none of your damn business. I snapped, frustration bubbling over. I demand another investigator. This interrogation is completely unprofessional. Taking deep breaths, I tried calming myself. Once John wrapped up his meetings, everything would be clarified. Sophia looked me up and down with undisguised contempt, lips curling in a knowing smirk. Leaning back in her chair, she drawled. Funny how Chin from Jiahong canceled yesterday's dinner when he heard you wouldn't attend. Insisted on rescheduling only when you're available. Her sneer cut through the air. We're all adults here. Some transactions don't need spelling out. My hands clenched. I advise you, she continued mockingly, that whatever you're trading your body for won't last. The room erupted as my chair screeched across the floor. Oh, the expert speaks. I hissed, looming over her desk. Where's your proof? Huh? How many years did you ferment that sewage pipe you call a mouth? Can't use your lower half so you diarrhea words instead? My finger jabbed toward her stunned face. Get your scrambled brain cells in order before addressing me again. To my astonishment, Sophia's eyes welled up. Director Johnson. She sniffed, exposing a pale, vulnerable neck. Personal attacks are beneath you. I barked out a laugh. What brand trash bag are you? The Oscar winner edition? You started this. As I whirled to leave, I froze. John stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. How much had he heard? Mr. Wilson, Sophia rose gracefully, tears glistening as she gazed up at him with wounded doe eyes. I choked back hysterical laughter. Bravo! The quick-change artiste delivers an encore. John's voice cracked like winter ice. Secretary Sophia. My heart lurched at his formal tone. Then his arm wrapped around my shoulders, pulling me close with unexpected warmth. You will apologize to my wife immediately. The world tilted. Wife. The word he hadn't uttered in 3 years. Sophia's perfect mask shattered as John's glare intensified. Now, Mr. Wilson. She was the one who insulted me. Sophia blurted out indignantly before freezing in disbelief. Mrs. Wilson? She ventured hesitantly. John didn't bother responding, his gaze turning glacial as he pulled out his phone to message the company group chat. All staff meeting in 5 minutes. Remote attendees join via video. Taking my hand, his voice softened. Let's go to the conference room first. Emily. We'll handle this. I numbly followed, still processing events. As we walked, John suddenly asked, What exactly did Sophia say to you earlier? You didn't hear? I only caught you reprimanding her when I entered. Realization dawned that explained Sophia's audacious act. More importantly, he'd taken my side without question. My throat tightened as I recounted the secretary's venomous words. By the time we reached the glass-walled conference room, John's eyes had hardened to flint. When I tried withdrawing my hand from his grip at the sight of gathered colleagues, he tightened his hold decisively. Every head turned as we entered. John pulled out the center chair at the head table, waiting until I sat before activating the podium microphone. Regarding the sexual harassment allegations against Director Johnson, his baritone voice carried through the silent room. I wish to clarify. He rested a proprietary hand on my shoulder. Emily and I are married. Any physical contact between us is entirely consensual. The room erupted in gasps and exclamations. My face burned as colleagues' shocked whispers washed over us like tidal waves. Sweet mercy. I'd wanted transparency, but this nuclear-level disclosure? Meeting adjourned. John killed the mic mid-chaos, striding through the petrified crowd with me in tow, our clasped hands swinging defiantly. Back in the executive suite, we found Sophia flanked by security. Satisfied? She snapped. Not until you apologize to Emily, John stated coldly. Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. Was I wrong? You're clearly bewitched by her. Otherwise, why didn't you kiss her back that time? Her voice broke. Admit it, John. You still have feelings for me. My breath caught. First, John's grip tightened around mine. I've never had romantic feelings for you. Ever. Second, his thumb began tracing circles on my wrist. You lost the right to use my nickname when you harassed my wife. And third, his voice dropped, vulnerability flashing across his features. When the woman you love kisses you unexpectedly, it's not rejection, it's being terrified of messing up, of moving too fast. Sophia's defiant facade crumbled. After a prolonged silence, she choked out a barely audible apology before fleeing. John's shoulders finally relaxed, his gaze finding mine. Ice cream run? I'm thinking mint chocolate chip. The boyish grin he reserved solely for me erased all remaining tension. However, they wanted to gossip tomorrow right now. I had more important things. Double scoop. I countered, interlacing our fingers properly this time. As soon as John spoke his first words, I stood frozen in place. The room emptied until only we remained. John kept his back turned, the tips of his ears bright red with color spreading down his neck. In the heavy silence, warmth bubbled in my chest like carbonation while my lips threatened to betray me with an irrepressible grin. I jiggled our intertwined hands. "Hey, you're holding on too tight." His grip loosened as he finally faced me, resignation softening his features. "I was afraid you'd run." Heat flooded my cheeks. "After I kissed you? How could you doubt my feelings?" "Emily." He sighed, accusation lacing the name. "You bolted afterward. Blocked my number." His gaze turned wounded. "How was I supposed to know if you wanted me or just a moment?" The audacity of his self-awareness almost made me laugh. "I'm sorry about the terrible timing, but I needed you to understand." His thumb brushed my knuckles, earnestness radiating from him like sunlight. "The real proposal's coming. I swear. Can we pretend this conversation never happened?" I bit my lip hard, fighting the smile determined to launch into orbit, and nodded, pulling out my phone. I thrust the damning photo at him. "Then explain this." His brow furrowed at the image. "Where did recognition dawned?" "That's from college." Some creep was harassing Sophia at a party. I pulled her away. His jaw tightened. "I'd have done the same for anyone." What's strange is, silver light glinted off his glasses as he examined the timestamp. How conveniently this resurfaced now. Cold realization prickled my neck. "You think someone planted it? Let me handle this." When I hesitated, he cupped my face. "Trust me?" The remaining question burned my tongue. I plucked at his sleeve, voice small. "Yesterday, why go with her after we, you know?" Amusement crinkled his eyes. "I had investors arriving." She went to greet them while his breath warmed my ear as his hand settled possessively at my waist. "Needed time to recover." Dark promise laced his whisper. 5 minutes wasn't nearly enough. Fireworks exploded across my skin. Damn my overactive imagination. The truth emerged swiftly. Sophia had orchestrated everything: the anonymous HR complaint sent via compromised account, the fabricated office rumors, even staging her own harassment to manipulate John's protective instincts. John terminated her immediately, but the real masterstroke came days later. I'd expected simple clarification about the rumors. Instead, the company-wide ping announced his nuclear response, a cease and desist letter threatening litigation against gossipers, paired with actual filed charges against Sophia. The office chat froze in collective shock, scandal evaporating overnight. Hiding at my mother's for a week seemed prudent until John appeared on her doorstep, bearing news that stole my breath: a heart donor match had been found. It turned out he'd been using his resources to handle the situation this whole time. I threw myself into his arms, tears finally breaking free. To show gratitude, Mom personally cooked a huge pot of braised shrimp. I was too busy devouring them to speak, cracking open the shells with gusto when a small plate appeared before me. On the porcelain plate sat 5 plump shrimp tails. I looked up to see John's elegant fingers deftly peeling another shell, placing the meat on my plate. When our eyes met, he nodded at the offering, his eyes crinkling. "Eat. I'll peel for you." Across the table, Mom wore a doting smile while feigning politeness. "Oh, John, don't spoil her. You should eat too." "Not a problem. I'm fast at this." He wiped his hands smoothly before ladling soup for her. "Mrs. Johnson, please enjoy." "Thank you, dear." Mom sipped contentedly as if drinking honey rather than broth. "John, you're only 2 years older than our Emily. Not married yet, I suppose?" "Not." John suddenly straightened like a soldier reporting for duty. I choked on my shrimp. "In any rush?" John recovered smoothly, rerouting mid-sentence. Mom hummed knowingly, her gaze darting between us with amused suspicion, but pressed no further. I exhaled quietly. John's composure remained intact. He probably hadn't noticed anything. I wanted to wait until after Mom's heart surgery to address this. After dinner, Mom clung to John's hand, refusing to let him leave. To my surprise, he agreed to stay after brief consideration. I settled him in the guest room before retiring, thinking tomorrow's dawn would bring the donated heart and Mom's surgery the beginning of better days. But though the forecast promised sunshine, heavy rain lashed past 10 o'clock. The stifling air filled me with inexplicable dread. In the early hours, Mom's medical alarm shrieked. I bolted awake, stumbling to her room. She lay unconscious on the floor. At the hospital, white noise filled my ears as doctors performed emergency measures. Patient remains in shock. Blood pressure dropping, a breathless doctor rushed in, OR's ready but the heart's still 2 hours out. Clutching Mom's cold hand, I plummeted back into that nightmare fog. The gaping hole in my chest returned, howling with icy winds at the thought of losing her. My breathing shallowed, limbs numbing into paralysis. Emily, breathe! John materialized, wrapping me in his arms. The helicopter's retrieving the heart. 20 minutes max. He massaged life back into my rigid fingers as doctors cheered. We can stabilize her that long. Those 18 minutes stretched longer than 18 years of memories every hardship Mom endured, raising me flashing before my eyes. When the heart finally arrived, I stared at the operating room doors closing behind her. She'd always been my anchor through every storm. How could I navigate tomorrow without her? My knees buckled, but instead of hitting cold tiles, I fell against John's steady embrace just like our first meeting. He cradled me as I trembled, murmuring reassurance. Professor Grace is operating. She's the best cardiac surgeon, highest success rates, minimal complications. His words barely registered through the numbness. All I knew was the warmth anchoring me to this moment, the rhythmic strength of his heartbeat against my ear as we waited. I looked up, stunned. They actually got her? Professor Grace Miller, of course I knew of her. I'd been trying to secure her consultation myself. But she'd abruptly retired 6 months ago, disappearing from both clinical practice and the hospital scene. John seemed to read my confusion. I pulled every string imaginable. He explained, finally getting an appointment with her a week ago. That important meeting the day after our wedding? That was with her. Sophia simply coordinated her arrival. He sighed. She reviewed all the medical files but needed time to decide. 2 days ago, Dr. Miller, her protégé, examined your mother. Though Dr. Miller was competent, I insisted on having the best. I struck a deal with my father, cashing in an old favor the Wilsons had over the Millers. A tired smile touched his lips. Grace finally agreed last midnight. Given the urgency, I had her flown here by helicopter. New hope surged through me, steadying my resolve. 10 hours later, the operating room doors swung open. The surgeon emerged exhausted but beaming. Complete success. Outside, rain had given way to sunlight piercing through dissipating clouds. When Mom woke an hour post-surgery, her weak squeeze of my hand shattered the last of my composure. Tears flowed freely, with her here. I could still be the child who sought comfort in her embrace. She drifted back to sleep quickly, the doctor assuring us this was necessary for recovery. Pulling John from the room, I abandoned formal thanks. Boldness overtook me. He was my husband after all. Heart pounding, I tugged his sleeve and stood on tiptoes to peck his cheek. He turned simultaneously. Our lips met. Electricity crackled between us as golden light haloed our frozen moment, me stretching upward, him bending down. A perfect movie-worthy scene, until Ethan vaulted onto the flowerbed ledge beside us. Hey! Are you guys making out? He demanded, face inches from ours. The romantic soundtrack in my mind screeched to a halt. I dropped flat-footed, flushing crimson as the kids scampered off laughing. Ethan! A grandmother materialized, snagging the escapee's arm. Nearly gave me a heart attack. 2 firm swats landed on the culprit's backside amid wailing protests. I doubled over laughing, genuine, weightless laughter I hadn't experienced since Mom's initial collapse half a year ago. John steadied me with an amused arm, his indulgent smile warming me more than the sunlight. When my giggles subsided, he pulled me close and planted a deliberate kiss on my lips. Consider that payback. Pleasure sparked through every nerve, leaving me breathless and grinning. This man, he knew exactly what he was doing. Is falling in love supposed to be this joyful? Then, can I get some official recognition here? John's eyes sparkled with mischief as he suddenly murmured, "Babe? Sweetheart?" I melted instantly. It's not like I wanted to agree immediately. But he called me babe. After passing the critical phase, Anna's condition improved daily. Olivia came to visit her at the hospital. Since Olivia and Anna were practically family, I casually left them chatting while I went to get hospital meals. Returning through the stairwell, I froze upon hearing Olivia's voice mingling with John's. "I won't consider marriage registration within 6 months," came John's calm, detached tone. "Good. That's reassuring," Olivia responded. Frowning, I pressed closer. "When are you signing the Linden project contract with me?" Olivia pressed. "We had a deal. I helped you get Emily to sign the business alliance agreement. And you promised to cancel cooperation with my brother to give me this $30 million project." My eyes widened. What fresh drama was this? Leaning in too eagerly, I accidentally nudged the stairwell door open. Both turned to see me mid-snoop, half-crouched like some amateur detective. Panic flashed across their faces before mine did. "Emily. Let me explain. Emily. This isn't what it seems." They spoke over each other, John looking frantic while Olivia appeared genuinely distressed. When their eyes met, some unspoken competition ignited. "Me first." "No. Me." Suddenly my anxiety evaporated. Standing straight, I pointed at Olivia. "You." The redhead shot John a triumphant smirk before grabbing my hands. "Her opening salvo?" Immediately pointing at John. "He's the mastermind." John's expression darkened. Classic Olivia move. He came to me. She rushed, demanding I make you sign that contract without revealing the truth. Threatened to support my idiot brother's corporate takeover if I refused. The $30 million was hush money. "So you sold me out?" I sighed, though truthfully more amused than angry. Olivia's eyes welled up instantly, fat tears splashing our linked hands. "No. Don't look at me like that. I only agreed because I noticed ages ago how gone you were for John. You'd analyze his texts for hours during our mall trips. Constantly wondered what his type was." Heat flooded my cheeks. This traitorous best friend was airing all my secrets. As John's grin widened dangerously, I clapped a hand over Olivia's mouth, glaring at him. "What? Feeling smug?" The CEO shook his head rapidly, schoolboy cock-crushing vibes radiating. Olivia mumbled through my fingers. Snotty but determined, he promised full medical care for Anna. Made him swear no marriage license for 6 months so you could back out anytime. Figured worst case, we'd scam free healthcare. Yep. That tracked. All right. She's cleared. I released her, only for Olivia to cling like a koala. The Linden project? Pure business. If he healed Anna and you liked him, great. Otherwise, wouldn't touch his stinky money. I burst out laughing, pulling her into a hug. "Olivia, thank you." Her responding wail could have shattered glass. I shoved the food containers into her arms, gently pushing her toward Anna's room. "Go feed your honorary auntie." Peace finally. Turning to John in the empty stairwell, I asked quietly, "Why not just be honest?" He stood across from me, head bowed. His apology whispered through the stillness. "Emily, I was an idiot. I know your pride. Your independence. Feared you'd see it as charity, that you'd pull away. Overthought every angle. Still messed up. Let me fix this? His voice was slow, halting, laced with regret. He seemed to gather all his courage before looking up at me. I was wrong. Can we start over? Give me another chance. I'll redo everything properly, court you from the beginning. The more I stayed silent, the more urgent he became, his eyes reddening. John. He didn't realize the dim stairway lights cast shadows behind him, darkness looming at his back. Meanwhile, sunlight warmed my shoulders where I stood. My chest ached seeing him like this man who'd shielded me from shadows now stood vulnerable, desperately seeking redemption. How could I be so blessed to have someone offer their heart so completely, wanting only the best for me? No. I shook my head slowly. The light in his eyes dimmed like fading stars. Don't. I wanted to say. Stars should never lose their brilliance. Stepping forward, I swallowed the lump in my throat. I won't let you chase me, because I'm chasing you this time. Let me be the one to close the distance. The starlight reignited in his gaze. Too late. He breathed, fingers intertwining with mine in a heartbeat. You already caught me. Laughter bubbled from my lips, crinkling my eyes and rounding my cheeks as I launched into a tackle hug. His arms encircled me securely, like they'd done countless times before. Suddenly I remembered that nightmare where my mother didn't get her heart transplant, but reality smelled of antiseptic hospitals and the apple she'd probably be munching right now. I clung tighter to him. Fate had never favored me, until this man chose to love me fiercely, rewriting every shadow into light.